Okay, just a real quick video this time because I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to get back to the machine of both the Dream Machine and Luminaire. One of the questions we get is, does the Luminaire come with the plastic guides? No, it doesn't. And the reason that it doesn't is because you have the projector on the Luminaire that you do not have on the Dream 1 or Dream 2 or Dreamweaver XE and that. So when you buy a hoop though, let's say it's an add-on hoop, chances are good that you're going to get one of these inserts with it. And believe it or not, we actually have customers who have no clue what these are for, and without asking, they pitch them in the garbage thinking it's maybe some kind of a packing aid. It's not a packing aid. These things are really useful as a placement tool and guide. So here I have one for the 9.5 by 9.5 hoop, I believe it is. I'm not sure. I haven't checked, to be honest with you. But anyway, what I want to show you, and I'm going to put some white paper, it's actually stabilizer behind it. What I want to show you is, you can see those purple kind of marks on your plastic insert. This lays inside of the hoop. I'll show you in the 5x7 hoop in a second. But why this is important for you, first of all, have I got it upside down? I do. All right, why this is important for you is because every embroidery machine starts in the center. It's basically a CNC mill that starts in the center and then works off of the center to certain quadrants. And each of those quadrants will have an X and a Y axis as well. Not to get overly technical, but it's for placement. So every time an embroidery machine starts, it starts 1, 2, 3, and then it jumps over to one of the quadrants, or it starts working in the middle quadrant. But it needs to register where the center is, which is why when you're throwing fabric underneath a hoop, I'm just going to bring my 5x7 hoop in for you. If you're throwing fabric in, you need to know where that center is beyond these four little markings that are on the brother hoops. There's these little registration marks here. Where is center visually? And that's what these show you. So if this is laid inside of the hoop, where this goes in like that is going to be the center of the hoop. And I'll show you on the 5x7 in a second. The other thing is that this then shows you the quadrants. Each one of these has, depending on the size of the hoop, certain amount of quadrants, and each one of those quadrants has quadrants within it. So from a placement point of view, these are actually really, really useful as a placement tool. Okay, so I'm just going to move my frame out of the way and pull in the 5x7 one. Here's the one for the 4x4. It's much smaller, still in the plastic. And here's the one for the 5x7 hoop that I have. Let's take it out and how it lays in. And by the way, these embroider beautifully, so don't leave them in your hoop when you start to embroider because they do a wonderful job of doing machine embroidery. Okay, so you lay it where it says ABC right side up, and it just slides into these little hiccups. So now I know, and I'm actually going to make a mark, that the center of my hoop is right there. Okay, it also shows you, which is really important, because when we say, you know, oh, I just went to such and such a place and I bought a 5x7 or a 4x4 or a 100 by 100 inch or a millimeter design, it's not actually that big. It's a lot smaller than that. So where this is, do you see that exterior beautiful lavender color here? That is actually the biggest size that a 5x7 hoop like this can accommodate, and that is because it needs room on the sides for the embroidery foot. If the embroidery foot has one of those up and down thingies on it, or you know, it looks like a horseshoe, or it looks like a circle, or whatever it looks like, you don't want to embroider on here. It needs room to go from the side of the hoop, this side of the hoop, into the embroidery design. That's my little pepper dog again wanting in. We're just going to ignore her. Okay, so it's a multi-purpose tool. Now I know where the center of my hoop is, and when I go to lay my fabric in, or if I start my embroidery design, you wouldn't make a hole in your stabilizer, by the way. I'm just doing that for showing purposes, but you can see that that is where the X and the Y axis is. The other thing that this hoop can do is, because it's clear, it can show you, once the embroidery design is on here, if you want to add another one, how those are going to play. So this just gets laid on top and picked up and off. Make sure you remove it, because like I said, it embroiders beautifully. Ask me how I know. I've embroidered my plastic guides a couple of times in a rush and by accident, and they're great for placement. So there's actually in your manual, there's a whole section on this and what they do. But on the luminaire, these are not necessary, because this grid, this actual grid, and the X and the Y axis and the placement is provided with the projector that comes on the luminaire, the new luminaire machine. Okay, on the Dream machine you don't have that, so these plastic grids do come with. So that's what I wanted to talk about that. The other placement tool that you have, again, I'm upside down, sorry, is your snowman. Your snowman, you can get replacement sheets of the snowman. They're not expensive to buy, but quite honestly, you guys, if you take a piece of tape and you fold it over 3 times or however it is and stick it on the back, once the sticky is gone, I use and reuse, because I'm a cheapskate, I reuse my snowman over and over and over again. If you accidentally make a hole in either the top or the bottom where his little belly button or his nose is, then the snowman is useless, because the laser cannot find it anymore. So that's a laser guide on your Dream machine and machines of that caliber. You can use chalk markers to mark your fabric. You can use pens or pencils. You can actually use tape to mark your fabric. There's lots and lots of ways to mark fabric. The only thing that I caution you against is using pins, and that's, for me, that's a big one. So try not to use pins, because pins cause problems. But I just want to show you again, from a placement point of view, if you've already stitched, if this was a big sheet of fabric and you've already stitched Bunny out, you can see how it would fit another design within that embroidery frame. That goes for if you're doing, for instance, freestanding lace snowflakes, and one fits here, you know you can get 4 freestanding snowflakes in here. So it's a great placement tool, it's a great measuring tool, it's a locator tool. It shows you what the actual hoop parameters allow for embroidery design. These are not garbage, you guys. These are really, really, really good tools. Okay, so don't throw them out. Thank you. And by the way, we are now on Patreon, so if you really like us, go ahead and support us on that. But if not, please hit like and subscribe, and we appreciate your support, because we want to continue giving you more and more info. Thank you. Bye-bye.